Hey y'all, did you know there's a town located in the Ozark foothills that was nearly wiped off the face of the earth by a nuclear explosion back in 1980? Most people have probably never even heard of Damascus, Arkansas. It has a population of only 382, right around 400. It's kind of rural. Today we're going to do a quick tour of this tiny town and tell you about an explosion that occurred that could have changed American history. We will even go out and find the site where the Broken Arrow incident occurred. So let's go for a drive. Here we go down to the state of Arkansas. Damascus, Arkansas is located in the north central part of the state on the Faulkner and Van Buren County line, right there. Damascus is a peaceful, tight-knit community. The traffic is light, the stars are bright, and it's generally slow-paced. You know, the classic small-town Arkansas. The town has an agricultural surrounding, some scattered houses, one or two little neighborhood circles. There's a few churches, and it's all surrounded by farms. There's a lot of rolling hills around. Damascus has a city hall, a fire department, some resale shops, a couple of local restaurants. Has an auto repair too, I think. There's a Mexican restaurant, Dollar General, a few gas stations, a post office. Typical American small town without a Walmart. But that's okay, because just under 10 miles to the south is Greenbrier, and a 10-minute drive. It's a very good highway. There's some larger grocery stores, Walmart neighborhood market, Harp's Grocery, right now in 2025. Like I said, Damascus is a rural area, so it's surrounded by nature. Lots of things to do, like canoeing and kayaking, a short drive away, hiking in the forest and stuff like that. There's Rears Ferry Lake that's not too far away, 30 minutes drive or so. We're going to take a turn right here off of Highway 65 North, and we'll turn down into the downtown, which is not very many streets at all. There's a resale shop in this old building right on the corner of Main Street here. I'm not sure if it's even open. The town is tiny, but there are some things located nearby, like I was saying, and there's a 3,000 acre Boy Scout camp out there by Cove Creek. It's a few miles out on the west side of town. It's called the Gus Blass Scout Reservation. Nice quiet streets, peaceful. Unless you're right on Highway 65, this is probably normal. There's every day, just very few cars driving around. Okay, it's time for story time. Now, I don't want to take away from the small town and what it has to offer in the way of peace and quiet and laid back vibe, the nature and all that. It's not far from Little Rock and Conway, but I want to tell you about the 1980 Broken Arrow incident near here. It was actually 3 miles north of town. As many of you know, the Titan II program was an intercontinental ballistic missile program that started in the 1950s and ended in 1987. The Titan II missiles were 103 foot tall, and they carried a 9 megaton nuclear warhead. They were massive. These missiles could hit targets up to 5,500 miles away. In the state of Arkansas, there were about 18 silos, one of which was just 3 miles north of Damascus here. Now, the missile was placed in a silo below ground. It was a diameter of 55 feet roughly and about 150 feet deep, and they were all ready to launch. On this day in 1980, a serviceman was working on some things above the rocket. He dropped a wrench and it fell and hit the rocket and punctured a tank, which started spraying out fuel gas. Now, the explosion didn't happen right away. It was like 8 or 9 hours later. The rocket exploded and killed one of the service members and injuring a lot more. Now, the nuclear warhead, that 9 megaton one I was talking about earlier, was actually on the missile at the time. When the explosion happened, it projected it out of the silo and over 100 feet away where it landed on the ground. So essentially, you have a giant cannon shooting a nuclear warhead up in the air and it just falling to the ground. But there was no real damage to the actual warhead, so there was no leakage of radiation, no nuclear explosion. Yes, it was a disaster, especially for the people, the victims involved, but the damage caused by that was actually minor compared to what could have happened. If the warhead would have detonated somehow, it would have changed everything here, especially the state of Arkansas, for a long time, and our little town of Damascus would have been pretty much wiped out. Almost all of the silos, including the one here, was filled up with dirt and covered over. But there were a few of them here in the state that were decommissioned and are now privately owned. Some of the owners actually built homes down in the silo. Crazy. Some interesting little houses here. This old Masonic lodge is really cool. Here's the fire department for the town. There's not a lot of real industry here in Damascus. For larger employers, a person would have to drive to Conway or even Little Rock. Maybe Greenbrier, but mostly Conway. But there is some natural gas pumping going on still in Damascus area. The actual natural gas boom was from 2004 to 2012. Then it dropped off for multiple reasons and the drilling kind of stopped. There's still pumps active and stations, so there may be some jobs available in that field. I read that there's currently a play to revive some of the drilling in the area, so we'll see how that goes. The trees are beautiful this time of year, and this area is kind of open on the outskirts, and driving around on the outside of town. This open fields, rolling hills. It's really pretty. It was about this time that we met a friendly police officer here in Damascus. We had a nice little chat. He was very friendly. Now, I'm going to say that crime is pretty low here. I'll give you an example. I said earlier that the community was a tight-knit community and the citizens of Damascus like a peaceful life and so on. So they're kind of alert, you know. Let's say hypothetically there's an old beat-up Ford truck with a weirdo driving around, you know. He's got his camera stuck out the window. He's filming everything and people who are just minding their own business. I mean, if I were a betting man, I would be willing to bet that someone would call the police here. Then you would see some of the fastest response time of any police department that anyone has seen here in modern times. So it's safe to say, for me at least, that Damascus is probably a very peaceful and safe town to call home. Oh, hi officer, by the way. If you want to drive a little bit farther to work and just have a peaceful home time when you are at home and just once work's over you go home and don't want to be bothered, this would be the place to do that, I think. There's the city hall on the right there. And they have a library in there too, I see. So if you don't mind a 30-40 minute drive to work, you know, a long commute to Little Rock, Conway, or if you're lucky you may could get a job closer. I mean, there are things to do, but you know, I guess it just depends on what your job requires. I mean, heck, you know, open up a business right here in Damascus. On our way out of town to go check out the missile silo area, we passed this shuttered Beyond 6 natural gas station. It primarily served like fleet vehicles, passenger cars and vans that were compatible with natural gas at the time. It was part of the network of about 55 compressed natural gas stations around. Unfortunately, it suffered from the downturn and was eventually closed here in Damascus. We made it out to the area where the Titan II silos were located, but after several attempts to get closer, we had to give up the search. All the entrances were gated. We did find this vantage point as close as we could get. It's located right over there. There's an arrow pointing to it. It's over behind those trees. I did see somewhere online that they were offering tours for this site, but I really don't believe it. I couldn't find any evidence of it. Here's an aerial picture of the site from Google Earth. You can make out the hills of dirt there where the silo was located. They covered it up. That's the best I could do for now. If I had a drone, I could fly over it, but I don't. Well, that's about it for this video on Damascus, Arkansas. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. Please tell all your friends and family. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to get, build the channel up, It's the YouTube dream, right? Later.